thank you for watching my channel today. My name's Sarah and my channel is called Your Tea Shelf. Today I'm doing a haul video. I haven't done a haul video for a while and it's massive. Not because I've been buying loads of books, because I really haven't, but because I've got lots of books from the library and I've got a few books that have been given to me. And I had a really good time. A couple of weeks ago on a day off, I fancied getting some books, but I didn't want to buy books, and so I wrote down a list of things that were on my wish list, and I found as many as I could in our local library. So that's why most of these are library books. Some of them are library books that I've had for a while though. So let's kick off. The first one is a recommendation from Jen Campbell. This is the Hopkins Manuscript by R.C. Sherriff, which I ordered ages ago and it took a really long time to come. This is a science fiction book which was written in 1939, and it's about a retired teacher called Edgar Hopkins, and he writes and tries to win like literary prizes, and then the moon is due to then crash into the earth, and so he decides to like write a manuscript for people to find in the future if anyone survives. And I believe it's set in the future, and people have found his manuscript and they're using it to find out what Earth used to be like. And Jen said it was really good. It's a Penguin modern classic, and so I ordered that one. This next one was an impulse pickup based on the cover from the Pride stand in the library, and I actually only just read what this is about. I think it's YA. This is called After Love by Tanya Byrne. So this is about a girl called Ash who is in a car crash. She dies, I think, and on New Year's Eve she gets an invitation from the afterlife she can't decline to join a clan of fierce girl reapers who take the souls of the city's dead to await their fate. But she can't forget her first love, Poppy, and will do anything to see her again, even if it means they only get a few more days together, dead or alive. So that was a complete cover borrow for me. The next one's quite a popular one that lots of people have read already, and that's The Appeal by Janice Hallett. This one I heard good things about, but the person who really convinced me that I had to read this was David, Lauren's partner from Lauren and the Books, read this, and he vlogged with Lauren, and he enjoyed this so much that it really convinced me that I needed to get this out of the library. So this is basically, I believe, a murder case where a solicitor has given some, or a lawyer has given some trainee law students the case, and they have to try and work out like what's happened. So it says 1 murder, 15 suspects, can you uncover the truth? But all of it is told in like emails and letters and interviews and that kind of thing. So that's how you have to solve it. So everybody who's read this said it's really good. So David has convinced me that I need to read it too. This is kind of like a lucky dip bag now, because I've got just my my canvas bag that I take to the library with loads of books, and I can't actually remember everything I've got in here. Okay, so the next one is this one, The Silent Daughter by Emma Christie. So I mentioned this in my TBR video. I ordered this from the library because this is our book club book. This is actually for a week today, so I need to start this as soon as I finish my current book. So all it says on the back: deceit runs in the family. Chris Morrison is facing his worst nightmare. His wife is in a coma, his daughter is missing, and the only thing more unsettling than these two events is what might connect them. Some secrets can change a family forever. So yes, that's a crime thriller, which is our book club choice. So that'll be my next read. The next one I ordered in was one that I saw Kira talk about. And she said that if you like Sally Rooney, this will be a good one for you. And I love the cover as well. So this is Snowflake by Louise, Nealon. So I just had a 5-star reading experience with Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. So I wanted to read this one based on that. This is about a young girl called Debbie White. She lives on a dairy farm with her mum, who records her dreams and thinks that they're prophecies, and her uncle, who sleeps in the caravan and is a heavy drinker. And that's kind of her normal world. And then she goes to Trinity College in Dublin, and she is exposed to all these new people, experiences, different ways of living and thinking and things. And things begin to unravel in her own family, and she has to try and you know, I guess she's got her family loyalties to the family that she loves and grew up with, who are a bit strange, and then she's got like this new kind of life as well. So I'm looking forward to this. I know Kira really liked this, and I'll link her channel down below. The next one is a children's book that I got from the library because I recently saw Christie and Jones talk about this book, and she also said it was in one of her top books of the year so far. And this is Julia and the Shark by Kiran Millwood Hargrave. So I've also got The Mercies by Kiran Millwood Hargrave, which I haven't read yet. But this is about Julia, who is a child narrator, and it's about a summer that she spends on an island in, I think, of the Scottish Islands, living in a lighthouse, and it says, "The summer I almost lost my mum and found a shark older than trees. Don't worry though, that doesn't spoil the ending." So I know that this has also got some really lovely illustrations in the book, and I think it'll be a quick read, but there's some really sweet colours in there as well. But I've heard so many good things about this one. Right, so the next book is another one that I heard Jen Campbell talk about. I've heard her mention this book so many times. When she read it, she loved this book, and I've just got around to getting off the library. And this is A Place for Us by Fatima, Farheen, Mirza, and this is set in with an Indian Muslim family, and their oldest daughter in the family is getting married, and she's having a marriage of love, and rather than an arranged marriage, and the family comes back together, but the youngest brother, who is Amar, he's been estranged and he's been away from the family for 3 years, and they're all kind of wary of what's going to happen when he comes back. And I think I remember Jen saying, this is a long memory ago, so I'm not quite sure how I remember. I think it starts, you know, in the present and then works its way backwards to like what had happened to make him estranged, I think. But I've heard loads of good things about this, and it is also a New York Times bestseller. I think Sarah Jessica Parker had something to do with this book. Yes, so she's written something in the back. The collaboration between Hogarth Press and Sarah Jessica Parker. So I think this was her first choice. The next book that I've got is Somebody to Love by Alexandra Heminsley, and I read her book Running Like a Girl when I started running, and I really loved it, and I follow her on social media, and so I was aware of this book. So this is about Alexandra was married, and she was about to have her first child, and her then husband told her that he was going to transition, and so she then, it's her story about her, I think, breaking up with her husband but still becoming like best friends with her husband as he transitions to be a woman, and I'm only saying it in those gender terms to explain what's happening. He obviously identified as a woman when he was her husband, and I'm only using he pronouns to make it not so confusing, trying to explain the premise of the book, just to clarify. So yes, I'm looking forward to reading this. I think this will be a really interesting non-fiction to read, and I really enjoyed Alexandra Heminsley's writing for Running Like a Girl as well, so I think this will be interesting and enjoyable at the same time. The next one is by an author who I have wanted to read for a really long time, and I finally got a collection of her essays, and this is A Burst of Light by Audre Lorde. So she died of cancer in 1992, and she was a black lesbian woman. And this is a collection of essays from her about all those kind of experiences that she's had. So basically this is reflections on her struggle with cancer to thoughts on lesbian sexuality and African American identity in a straight white man's world. So basically those who practice and encourage social justice activism frequently quote her as saying, "Caring for myself is not a self-indulgence, it is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare." So I'm really looking forward to this because I've heard so many great things about her writing. The next one is another recommendation from Jen Campbell, and this is The Family Clause by Jonas, Hassen, Khemiri, and this is translated from Swedish by Alice Menzies. This is following a family, I believe, over Christmas time. did I make up the Christmas? I may have made up the Christmas time bit. But basically, there's a father who is an elderly man now, or a grandfather as well, and he is living abroad. He comes back to Stockholm in Sweden to see his family, and he thinks that his son's a bit of a failure. His daughter's having a baby, but with someone he wishes she wasn't having a baby with, and he thinks that he's pretty perfect. And he comes back, and they spend 10 days together, and the strained relationships of the family begin to unfold, and some painful memories resurface. And I think this is just kind of going to be quite an intense look at the family dynamics over those 10 days. And just, I don't think I've read any novels translated from Swedish, or if I have, not very many. And so this will be a nice, a nice new country to read from as well. The next book's been on my wish list for quite a while, and I put this on my wish list when I was thinking about different career options and things, and also about a creative career. And this is Hammerhead by Nina Maclaughlin. This is a book about, it's a non-fiction, it's a memoir about Nina, who was working in a desk job that she did not enjoy, and she gave up everything to become a carpenter. Apparently, she couldn't even tell from a Phillips screwdriver from a flathead screwdriver at the beginning, and then she made a living as a carpenter. And it says that it also includes wisdom of other writers such as Mary, Oliver and Ovid, and mixes them with her memoir. So that sounds fascinating, and I just think those kind of journeys for me are really inspiring and really interesting. Another one from Jen. So this one is called Small Bodies of Water by Nina Mingya Powles. I think this one, it would be easier if I read the blurb. Isn't this cover just beautiful? I love the colour scheme on this one. So it says that Nina Mingya Powles first learned to swim in Borneo, where her mother was born and her grandfather studied freshwater fish. There, the local swimming pool became her first body of water. In lyrical, powerful prose, this weaves together memories, dreams and nature writing, exploring everything from migration, food, family, earthquakes and the ancient lunar-solar calendar. Nina reflects on a girlhood spent growing up between two cultures and what it means to belong. And then the final book I have is a book of short stories, which is 5 Tuesdays in Winter by Lily King. So a couple of years ago, I read Writers and Lovers by Lily King, and I absolutely adored it. And then Sean and I buddy read another book by Lily King, which I forget which one it was, and we both were really underwhelmed. So that was really disappointing. But this is her new book, and this is a collection of short stories, as I just said. And we're covering topics from a bookseller's unspoken love for his employees, a widow escaping to the German seaside with her daughter for a holiday she can barely afford, a neglected teenage boy needing nurturing, a girl's loss of innocence at the hands of her employer's son. Different stories. Obviously, it's quite a small book, so I'm guessing that the stories are fairly short. But because I enjoyed Writers and Lovers so much, I'm really looking forward to picking up these short stories. So that is all the library books, I think. Then I've just got a few books that have been given to me. So the first one is one of the school mums very kindly passed on a couple of books to me that she's read. So the first one is another really popular one, The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, which is a cosy crime book. I believe there are some elderly people who are in a quiet village who call themselves the Thursday Murder Club, and they are investigating what's happened. And there's also a sequel to this book out now. The next one, which she also kindly gave me, was a crime book called The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell, and I've heard good things about this. Hello, monkey. Can you go over there, please? So this is about a house in Chelsea in London, and there is a baby in a cot waiting for someone to come pick her up. She's very well cared for and well fed, but in the kitchen lie 3 decomposing corpses. So it's who has been looking after the baby and where are they? So crime thriller. And if you can hear a funny noise, it's my husband shaking the cat biscuits. As you will know, if you watched the video from my wrap-up last month, I recently read Thomas Hardy's Test of the D'Urbervilles and really loved it. And my colleague at work has given me a book of Thomas Hardy's poems. Beautiful cover. I didn't actually know that Thomas Hardy wrote poems as well. And so this is something which I will read, in bits and pieces rather than just sit and read the whole book in one go. But it was really kind of him to give me that book of poems. And he also lent me a book called The Dictionary of Lost Words, which I've heard about, but I don't really know what it's about. So it says that motherless and irrepressibly curious, Esme spends her childhood at her father's feet as he and his team gather words for the very first Oxford English Dictionary. One day she sees a slip of paper containing a forgotten word flutter to the floor unclaimed. And so Esme begins to collect words for another dictionary in secret. Thank you. The Dictionary of Lost Words. But to do so, she must journey into a world on the cusp of change as the Great War looms and women fight for the vote. Can the power of lost words from the past finally help her make sense of her future? That sounds excellent. And then I actually have 3, books that I've bought. So can I have that one, sweetheart? The first one I bought ages ago. I must have just forgotten to put it in my haul. And this is a childhood classic, which I loved as a kid. And this is Heidi by Joanna Spyri. I have my old childhood edition, which is a pretty rubbish edition. And it has tiny writing in it. But this one is so beautiful that I couldn't not get it a couple of months ago. And I really, really want to reread this. Isn't it just gorgeous? And the writing is a much nicer size in this book than my childhood edition. And the last 2 are both ones that I got on my Kindle for 99p each. And the first one is Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkinson. This is a book that is actually being turned into a TV series by Oprah's production company, which already makes me feel excited. And this is about a mother, I believe called Eleanor, who has 2 children. And when she dies, she leaves them an audio recording, basically blowing apart everything they thought they knew about her and their family. And secondly, a traditional Caribbean black cake recipe, and she wants them to share the black cake when the time is right. So I think it's basically about a family coming back together after their mother's death, but in with explanations that they had no idea about as they grew up. And the next one, or the final one, is I'll Be Mother by Meg Mason. And the reason I got this was because I just read Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason and adored that book. And this predates Sorrow and Bliss, and this is about a woman called Abby, I believe, and she is in Croydon and she's not very happy, and she falls in love with a man who's Australian and gets pregnant and decides that she's going to happily move to Australia to start a new life with this guy Stu. But when she gets there with her newborn baby, she finds out that he's actually not really who she thinks he is. He's not really ready to settle down and become a dad. She then befriends a next door neighbour who is an elderly lady, and they become like mother and daughter. But it says in the blurb, if only she hadn't told her neighbour that lie at the beginning. So it sounds really intriguing, and I'm really interested to see another Meg Mason book, given that I love Sorrow and Bliss so much. So that's everything that I have hauled over the past couple of months. I'm very proud that I only spent £2 on books. Well, £2 this month, and then however much the Heidi book cost when I bought it a couple of months ago. So I can't wait to get stuck into these. So I'm going to just really concentrate on my library books for the next couple of months, because I've got I think I've got about 27 or 28 library books out at the moment, and I really need to get a handle on that. So yes, so that's my haul. If you've read any of these books, you have thoughts about them, you want to read any of them, then please let me know in the comments down below. I will link the channels that I've mentioned, and I will also write the names of all the books in the description box down below. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely week, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.